Hi everyone and welcome to Dean Park. It's a very big moment today for a small locomotive as I take a look at the all-new Bachmann Class 08 shunter. I'll look at all aspects of the model, including the novel feature of the auto uncoupler. I'll test it around Dean Park and give you my feedback. As always, if you wish to support the channel, please hit those like and subscribe icons, and if you wish to get in touch, please do so by posting in the comment section below. So this is the all-new Class 08 double gauge model. It promises so much with features not yet seen on a ready-to-run model from this class. It replaces an ancient model from the Bachmann range and takes square aim at the current highly detailed model from Hornby. These models come in three trims: Standard, Sound Fitted and Sound Fitted Deluxe, which has an auto uncoupler fitted. The model here is the Deluxe model, which quite literally has all the bells and whistles. Bachmann announced 8 models in their initial run, including 7 of these being a Class 08 and 1 being the Class 09. The range includes rather striking liveries, and this one in provincial blue livery with ScotRail Haymarket markings. I've waited years for somebody to do this model, so when it was announced I placed my pre-order at my local retailer, Scooney Hobbies. This particular loco, along with some of its Haymarket stablemates, was painted around 1988, and the images on the screen now have been kindly supplied by Mike Campbell, who's a member of my Dean Park Model Railway closed Facebook group. He worked in the tech office at Haymarket when these locos were given their special paint schemes. The brainchild of these repaints was shift manager Bertie Mills, and a set were painted which included an all black one, an apple green, an intercity swallow, which has been painted here by Davy Mabel, and the provincial liveried one. And I recall seeing the provincial one as I passed in the train as a teenager. Now, 35 years later, I have one on my layout in model form. The previous Class 08 from Bachmann really had started to show its age. The mechanism inside was prehistoric, and it tended to shuffle and wobble as it went along the track, installing on any dead points or dirty track work. It really wasn't a particularly reliable runner. So it was really crying out for a replacement. Hornby then brought out its new offering of the Class 08, and it frankly blew the Bachmann model away in terms of separately fitted parts, finesse in the detail, and also the running mechanism. However, it too didn't like dead spots or dirty track, and to get the best out of this loco, you really have to fit a stay alive. And you can actually do that just behind the radiator grille under the body. The Hornby model is good, it's very good, but what it lacks is lighting. And that's really where the Bachmann model is going to really move the game on. The Bachmann model also comes with stay alive capabilities from the factory, so you don't have to upgrade it as you do with the Hornby model. But yeah, I added this one to my collection in January, and I'm really pleased that I did. I'd resisted buying a Hornby 08 for years, but when they announced this particular one, which was a special repaint with the Haymarket emblem just behind the radiator grille at the front steps there, I gave in and bought one. And I did a video on this on how to fit the HM7000 sound decoder earlier in the year, and I'll put that link at the top of the screen now and at the end of this video. I'll conduct most of the review from trackside. I will put the loco in the white studio just to give you a better sense of some of the darker areas against a white background, but I feel that putting it on the track here, you're getting a better sense of it in its working environment. Starting with the shape, and Bachmann have nailed it. The last model wasn't bad either, but what they've done with this one is they've just sharpened up the panel lines, the definition between the parts, and also even the rivet pattern is better defined. Now, I'm assuming they're all present and correct. I'm not going to start counting the rivets. I'll leave that to other people. Looking at the cab end first, and we've got metal fitted handrails at the cab door, which doesn't open, thankfully, unlike the Hornby model, which was a bit of a faff feature, to be honest. The interior of the cab is really well detailed. I'll hopefully get a better shot at it in another angle there to give you a sense of the detail that Bachmann have put in. Moving along from the running number towards the kind of grills at the side there, these are really well defined and so sharply painted. And I have to say, the livery application of this model is first class. I mean, when I went into Scooney Hobbies to pick it up, took it out of the box, gave it a once over, no issues whatsoever, plumped it on the track, and it just worked. So Bachmann really have presented me a working model straight from the box, pristinely presented. From the side angle, you'll see the different panel lines and the access doors to get into the loco, and the battery boxes, etc. What this model does do that the Bachmann one previously didn't do was that it sits nicely and more discreetly on its underframe. There's no visible gap between the main body and the underframe and running plate chassis, which I think is a big step forward. Even the Hornby one suffers in this area, depending on what livery you get it in. But yeah, from the bottom of the Intercity Exec beige onto the black running plate, you really can't see where the join is. Moving to the radiator end, and you've got the wasp stripe pattern there with the yellow and black. There's no side access ladders fitted onto this Class 08, they were removed in service, but some of the details that used to house these ladders are still in place, which is a nice touch. You've then got the Haymarket emblem proudly displayed there on the side, and the BR double arrow as well. All printing was opaque, really sharp, and you can even read the small data panel through a magnifying glass. From this view you get a good look at the roof with all its defined panels and sharp detail. There's a removable hatch here for accessing the decoder. I'll show you that in the next clip. The grab rails on the side here are plastic, there's a bit of flex in them, and there's a wee bit of bending in them, but nothing too brutal, especially compared to the previous Bachmann one, which was really prone to warping in that area. To gain access to the decoder, you have a removable roof panel, and you know I don't like these features, they often stick out like a sore thumb, but in this case it's not particularly obvious where it is, and the good thing for me is the blue on the panel matches the blue on the rest of the model, which might sound like it's so simple to do, but you know what, other manufacturers haven't managed to do it. So how do we get this off? There's two clips at that end and a small lip. This is going to be quite tight because I've not had it off before. Lift it at that end and then slide it out. There you can see the small lip and your two clips. Inside here we've got the interface, we've got the Plux 22, and we've got all your switches if you want to change any of the lighting features, if you're running it in DC mode. And let's just pop it back on, see how easy that is. So slide it in at that end and push it down at that end to engage the clips, and there you go. And from the side it's not obvious where the panel is, and nor is it from the top. On the cab roof you've got this sliding vent detail here. Bachmann have gone for it in the closed position and it's moulded, whereas on the Hornby model you do get the option to slide it open and closed. This is something I would have liked to have seen in the new Bachmann model, however they've gone down the moulded approach, and that's fair enough. You win some, you lose some. So far so good then for the Bachmann model. Is it blowing the Hornby 08 away? No, and that's probably testament to how good the Hornby model was in the first place. However, the new Bachmann model so far really has left its predecessor in the shadows. In the next clip I'll move the Class 08 into the white studio, take a few stills there, and that'll give you a better idea of some of the darker areas, especially around the underframe and buffer beam. What I will say is that the conrods that are picked out in orange here do appear a little bit on the chunky side when comparing it to the Hornby model. Right, from this angle you get a much better view of the underframe. First off you've got the sandboxes there at both ends, with the sandpipe which is in line with the wheels. You've also got brakes which are partly in line with the wheels, and these are fitted and moulded as part of the underframe. You've got a lot of separately fitted parts, these little orange details here, along with the white detail and pipework under the cab. You've got the cab steps which are in line with the cab door, and at the buffer beam end, at the cab end there, you've got separately fitted orange pipework. You can also see the leaf spring suspension there. It's got much better definition than on the previous model, and it really does look the part. From this end of the loco you get a good sense of the finesse of the radiator grille, and it's fully painted in yellow, and that's always a kind of barometer of how good the paint coverage is if the paint goes into the more detailed and fine areas, and Bachmann have nailed it in this occasion. And I have to say the paint coverage throughout is fantastic. The buffers on this model are sprung as you'd expect, and there's also holes in the buffer beam to fit some pipework if you wish to do so, and that comes in a separately fitted bag. But remember, if you're fitting pipework you won't be able to operate a coupler at that particular end, and being a shunter you might want it operational from both ends, so I can see a lot of people having the coupler remaining at both ends and not bothering with the pipework. Or if they do fit the pipework, snipping it short so it doesn't foul the coupler. From these angles you'll get a better sense of the interior of the cab. It's quite hard to actually see inside. The cab light on this is particularly dim, just like the real thing, or I'd put it on the track and show you, but hopefully through the windows here you can get a sense of some of the separately fitted detail, driver's console, handbrake wheels, and all the parts you'd expect to see in the cab of a Class 08. I'll go through some of the functions on this particular decoder. I'm not going to go through them all, there are up to 28, but I'll go through the main ones and I'll put at the bottom of the screen what the sound function actually is. I'll then look at the auto release coupler and show you how that works, along with some different brands of rolling stock to show you how that operates as well.
Going under. Clear to go under. I'm going under. Clear to go under.
In order to get the auto release coupler to work, there is two options, one for the radiator end, which I've got the wagon coupled up to now, and one for the cab end as well, obviously. What we've got is I've got function 11 for the radiator end auto release coupler, and the loco is set to go off in the right hand direction, so the radiator end first. I've selected function 11, and all I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the direction of the loco, and what you'll see is the loco shunt up against the coupler and the buffers, and the auto release work, and then the loco will pull back just a little bit to clear the tension lock. Like so. Now this particular wagon is a Bachmann wagon, and it's got a Bachmann tension lock coupler fitted. Let's try it on some other brands of wagon with different tension locks. I've coupled up a Hornby TTA tank wagon, and I'm going to try the coupler on this. Now, as you can see there, the coupler from the wagon didn't get put in the raised position from the auto release mechanism, so obviously it's not taking the two parts of the tension lock apart, and the wagon is still attached. This is a Rapido wagon. I'll try this to see if the auto uncoupler engages. And once again, the hook from the wagon wasn't put in the raised position, so it didn't allow any separation. I think this is down to the length of the actual tension lock coupler from different brands. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually switch out the tension lock that comes from Rapido and Hornby with a Bachmann one and see if that improves the actual uncoupling mechanism. The Rapido wagon's now been fitted with a standard Bachmann tension lock coupler, so let's see how this operates. Oh, we've got success with that one, so I think I'm right in what I was saying. It's down to the length of the actual tension lock hook from different brands, which determines whether this coupler mechanism is going to work or not. Let's confirm that by trying the Hornby TTA. Just after filming the previous clip, I popped along to Scooney Hobbies and I told them about the issue that I had with non-Bachmann couplers not working with the auto uncoupler mechanism. And Jim in the shop suggested it was the type of metal that Bachmann had used in the actual coupling hook, which responded better to the auto uncoupling magnetic system. So that might be the reason as to why the magnetic coupler responds better to the Bachmann hooks as opposed to those from, say, Hornby and Rapido. I'll turn the Class 08 round now, so we're getting some coupling from the cab end, and then later in the video you'll get some more uncoupling action from around the depot. The procedure for uncoupling from the cab end is exactly the same as from the radiator end. However, this time instead of function 11 you have to engage function 12. When you change the direction of the loco, it automatically buffers up and then comes back to auto release. In a first for a Bachmann loco, we've got a stay alive fitted in this, so when I take it off the track the loco remains operational, and whether that's just the sound or indeed any motion that you've got on the loco at the time when it might hit a dead spot such as an infill frog point or some dirty track. Short wheelbase locos such as this really do need a stay alive to function properly. It certainly adds to the reliability of this particular type of loco when you get as much sound and movement after the power is removed. So that's pretty impressive, and it'll make using the Class 08 so much easier on the layout. And that little movement there was because I've still got the auto uncoupler function initiated. That won't usually happen when you put the loco on the track. Another major upgrade over the previous Class 08 from Bachmann and indeed Hornby is the addition of fitted lights to this model. Now, when the original models came out from Bachmann and Hornby, fitting lights would have been unheard of. There just wasn't the space to do it. However, miniaturization in technology comes along and we get more detail in a smaller package. So that's why Bachmann have been able to upgrade this model and really bring it bang up to date with other 00 gauge models on the market. The lights really are tiny, just like the real loco I suppose, and they're housed in the small orange units and they're linked by an orange bar. And at the moment they're at red. When I change direction they go to white. There's also a cab light, and that on this particular decoder is function 22, so let's put that on. You could hear a little click there showing that the cab light has gone on, and it remains on regardless of the direction of travel. Right, let's talk price. With the Bachmann model, you've got it in 3 distinct trims. You've got the standard model, you've got the sound fitted, and you've got the sound fitted deluxe. And all the prices I'm about to quote you here are full RRP values. And remember, you get 10 to 15% off at certified Bachmann retailers, so you know you're not going to be paying the full RRP on this. For the standard model, you're looking at £209.95. The sound fitted is £110 more at £319.95, and add a £30 premium on for the auto uncoupler and the deluxe trim, and you're looking at £345.95. Now that's not cheap no matter how you slice it, but if you look at the Hornby model that's sitting behind it, it's £199.99 for the standard model. If you add sound to it, you're looking at another £60 using the HM7000. So you're £200 for the standard and your £260 RRP for the sound fitted model. Would I buy another Bachmann Class 08? Yes, I would. They're lovely little models, full of detail, bang up to date. They've got lights, the motor's super smooth, great at low speeds, and I do like this auto uncoupler. However, would I buy the sound fitted deluxe trim again to get this auto uncoupler? I'm not so sure. With regard to the Class 37s and 47s from Bachmann, you get a visual clue as to the upgrade to a sound fitted deluxe, such as a rotating roof fan and your fancy glazing, which neither are required on the Class 08. So I'm not so sure if I'd upgrade to the full fat sound fitted deluxe one if I bought another Class 08. If it was a Scottish BR Blue one, for example, I might just treat myself and get the full fat sound fitted deluxe one. But if it was anything else, I might just go for a standard trim. What do you think of the different grades of the Class 08, and what one would you go for? Let me know in the comment section below. Here are my ratings for this new model. First off, the appearance is top drawer. The model has all the details you'd expect, and these are fine but robust. The livery colours are up to Bachmann's usual high standards of accuracy, and it really does look the part. Performance is superb, the motor and gearbox are smooth and silent. The Stay Alive gives you confidence when running this model, however remember, we'll still need to keep our tracks clean. The model is brilliantly presented and put together, so it scores highly with regard to fit and finish. The tooling has resulted in a well-defined and crisply moulded body and separately fitted details. The auto uncoupler will steal the show for many modelers out there. However, there are some areas for improvement, such as the conrods, which I feel are a tad too broad looking. I can't get away from the fact that this model is not cheap. After all, what is these days? Whilst the standard trim is in the same ballpark as the Hornby Class 08 offering, when you opt for the deluxe trim, you really are paying a hefty sum of money for a brilliant but small model. Well, I have to say I really enjoyed looking at that new Bachmann Class 08. They really have moved the game on in some key areas from the previous generation offering, which you'd expect from a model coming out in 2025, replacing a model that's over 20 years old. I might have a look at the Hornby offering in comparison to the new Bachmann one in a future video, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.